guys, I know that I fell off a little bit on making the videos and stuff like that, me singing and all that good stuff, usual stuff that I used to do, but a lot of you guys do know that I was pregnant, but I will get back on that. I just kind of wanted to make a video because I feel like a lot of people have been asking me, what is it like, what does it feel like, how did you feel, and stuff like that. I feel like everyone was kind of dramatic about it. Everyone was basically saying, you know, how bad it is during pregnancy, how bad it is during labor. I personally feel like it's so bad during like the whole healing process. I don't know how it is with C-section, but with natural birth, I do know that that is horrible. Like during that time, I was basically saying like, I never want to have kids again. This is ridiculous. Like the fact that I'm even in so much pain like this, it's just basically a lot. As I was saying, basically it's like a lot of stuff that you have to deal with as far as the healing process. They give you these things that you have to take home. It's like a little tube that squeezes and you put water inside of it. There was something with witch hazel in it, and they were moist pads that you put inside of your pads. They also give you these huge pads. They're like the size of, okay, listen, I'm gonna need you to chill out if you want to sit with the big dogs, okay? So I got these long pads. They just look like they're just huge, okay? They're huge. You had to walk around with those. You're bleeding really heavy. Your flow is super heavy. Depending on if you get stitches or not, you're actually really sore. It's like a pain that I can't even describe. If you get stitches, your healing time is longer. Your healing time is most likely going to be 6 weeks or more. Well, that's my experience. And 6 weeks is a long time, okay? You have no sexual intercourse, you're nothing. You can barely hold your bladder. So guys, I'm gonna basically give you the rundown of me, my pregnancy experience. I basically found out I was pregnant back in July-ish. I want to say I was pregnant maybe, yeah, July. First thing I called was my parents. I basically told them, and then I just felt like I didn't have to tell anyone else if it wasn't my parents, and his parents, of course. We told them the news. When I was like 3 months, I was working at a fast food place. It was horrible. It was the most horrible experience because I was getting really sick. This is when morning sickness really started to kick in. I could not take the smell of the food. I could not cook the food. A little bit dramatic. I was like, oh, I can't do this because I'm pregnant. Oh, I can't do that. But I think it really wasn't that bad. But it was just honestly the smell of the food. I would throw up on stuff like that. My senses were really strong. When it came to washing clothes, I hated washing clothes. You know, like, when it came down to just going to go get food and stuff like that at my job, it was horrible. Like, I wanted to just throw up all the time. Or when it was cooking, I could not eat McDonald's. I was getting really bad heartburn at first. Every time I would eat anything spicy, as far as like chips and stuff like that, and fast food and all this other stuff. They say that when you have heartburn, your baby has a lot of hair. I don't really know how true that is. When I got 5 months, that's when I really started to show. It kind of just looked like I was bloated a lot. When I was 7 months, I started to look more and more pregnant. At this time, I'm working a full-time job, 10 hours a day, just because I wanted to. I was just kind of tired of being at home. I was kind of tired of just laying down all the time. Like, I felt like I would have gained just so much weight. So yeah, I was working a 10-hour shift every day. Because I had my baby before my due date. I basically worked my child out. Just from me standing on my... A lot of people say that they had a lot of experience with them having swollen feet. My feet were never really swollen. I want to say maybe 2 times out of the whole pregnancy. That's when my feet started to swell up, and that was more towards the end. I could not run. I could not run for anything. It was It was hard to run. Me coming from running track, playing flag football in high school and stuff like that, and love being an athlete and working out in my house and all this stuff like that, it was different. I just felt really like I couldn't do anything. I was always out of breath. Clothes started to not fit. It was wintertime, so I started wearing hoodies and all this stuff like that, huge hoodies the entire time of me being pregnant. Well, let me fast forward until the time basically when it gave time for me to give birth. I did not know that I was gonna come that early. I was supposed to be due March 11th or March 10th, I think. I forgot which one it was. I was supposed to be due around that time. He came around February 27th. Yeah. I was thinking basically that I was going to relax because I just had my baby shower on my off day. I thought I was going to relax the next day, watch Netflix, which I did, but around 4 o'clock in the morning I started having contractions. A lot of people say, oh, what do contractions feel like, and this, that, and the third, and they hurt, and blah blah blah. Me, they just felt like pressure, like you couldn't really do much about it. Yeah, it just kind of felt like pressure that you were having in your lower stomach area. So my mom was like, you need to go to the hospital. I was like, I'm gonna take a shower. I'm going to... Like, I was taking forever. And mom was like, Myla'v, you need to hurry up. You need to go to the hospital. You know, you're gonna have this baby at your house if you don't rush. I just woke up. I got a shower. You know what I'm saying? Make sure I'm good, you know. I didn't even have my diaper bag packed or anything. Like, I used the bathroom before I went and all of that. My mom was rushing me. My boyfriend was basically just laying down. Like, he thought I was joking because I do play a lot, honestly. And I used to play a lot and be like, my water broke. I used to play it all the time. And so he thought I was joking when I was like, I think I'm having contractions. So then we finally make it to the hospital. And the lady in the hospital, she was like, oh my God, you're dilating like 4.5 centimeters. Do you not feel your contractions? I was like, yeah, I do. She was like, yeah, your contractions are 1 minute and 30 seconds apart. Which, the contractions weren't bad to me. I was just kind of like squirming in my chair a little bit. They weren't like to the point to where I was crying. So they were basically like, we're going to keep you in the hospital because if we send you home, you're going to have to come back here. So we might as well just keep you. So I stayed in the hospital. They waited till I was like 5 centimeters dilated. Now this time I started to feel my contractions. My contractions started to get a little bit worse. I did shed a tear or two, I'm not gonna lie.
Get her done.
Oh, I can't.
Oh yes you can.
Oh.
Deep breath and push.
Ah.
Push.
So I don't know how people do this natural birth, but listen. I was only 5 centimeters, and I think you go up to 8 or 9 centimeters to where, or maybe 10, I'm not sure. I was not for it. I was like, hand me the epidural. It wasn't bad, but I was just like, I'm only 5 centimeters, and this is what a contraction feels like. Like, this is how bad it is. So yeah, as time started to go, my contractions did start to get worse. So by that time, they already came in with my epidural. I was kind of scared to get the epidural only because a lot of people said that if you moved, you were going to be paralyzed. And I was like not trying to be paralyzed for the rest of my life because I hate needles and I was scared that I was going to move. She just kept telling me to bend my back, and I'm like, girl, this is as far as I can bend my back. Like, she was trying to tell me to hunch my back over. Like, that's as far as I can go. I had in my delivery room, I had my mom, my dad, my aunt was in there, and then of course my son's father. I was calm, guys. I was really calm the whole time I was in there after they gave me the epidural. Once they gave me the epidural, I was able to literally fall asleep. Like, I was so tired. I was so hungry at this point. I went in the hospital, I want to say around 7 o'clock in the morning, and I had him at 5:45. Yeah, so I was actually really hungry. I wanted to eat. They would not let me eat. I could not drink my water, anything. They only let me eat ice chips. So that was probably the worst part of me in the hospital. Yeah, so then the doctor came in and I pushed, and I was so tired. I was pushing. It was it was easy. Only because I didn't feel anything. So I was pushing, I think for about an hour.
I just wanted to get him out. Listen, honey, I was hungry, okay? I was starving.
I stayed in the hospital for about 2 days just because I was like, you know, the nurses are here. They're going to be with me. They're going to watch over me and the baby. I don't want to go home yet. Like, I had my mom stay in the hospital with me while my boyfriend was going home, setting up the crib and stuff like that, only because we did not know that he was going to come this early. We were actually supposed to set up the crib that weekend, but yeah, I ended up going to the hospital. So yeah, he left the hospital and I told him that he should go home and set up the crib and stuff like that and just get the baby's room together and everything. And so my mom stayed with me the first night. I remember the first night, I was so exhausted. I was really tired. Like, he didn't really cry that much, honestly. He slept a lot, but when I did have to wake him up and honestly breastfeed him every 2 hours, that was a hassle because I was literally falling asleep as I was breastfeeding him, and that's not cool. So yeah, that was the only really exhausting part. Then when I came home, the healing process was just horrible. Like, I just can't even believe how many people just sit there and they just don't really tell you how the healing process is. Like, it's honestly not, I did not have a good experience at all. So yeah, he's a month now, a month and about 2 weeks. He's sleeping. Well, trying to fall asleep. But he's like, Mom, you're talking too loud. So, healing and stuff like that, I want to say you're about bleeding for 6 weeks. Not 6 weeks. That's a lie. I was bleeding for about a good 2 weeks. And I want to say heavy flow. Like, heavy flow. I was bleeding for about a good 2 weeks. The things that they give you in the hospital, I promise you, they're gonna be your best friend. Like, I don't want to bring it here right now, but I'm gonna just put like a picture or something. But I promise, like, they're gonna be your best friend. They're gonna be your best friend. So I just kind of want to thank you guys for watching my video. I'm going to start going back to, you know, Myla'v. The Myla'v that you guys do know, singing and stuff like that, post more videos. There's also going to be a lot more stuff on my channel.
You should have called me. Why you never call me? Why you never call me? Oh, you should have called me. Why you never call me? Why you never call me?